You think you're keeping a budgie as a pet, but honestly, you're the one being carefully observed and analyzed every single day. You walk past the cage. The bird glances at you, then looks away, almost bored. You assume that means everything's fine. But here's the strange part. That glance wasn't boredom. It was a calculation. And it's been happening every single time you've entered that room since the day you brought the bird home. Think about this for a second. A budgie weighs less than a deck of cards. In the wild, they survive by being constantly, relentlessly aware of everything that moves around them. The cost of missing a threat isn't just an inconvenience. It's death. That instinct didn't just disappear when it landed in your living room. It just changed targets. And the target is you. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The longer you watch a budgie, the more you realize it's almost never telling you the truth about how it feels. This is the first hidden system. Budgies are prey animals, and prey animals that show weakness get picked off. So evolution built them to hide it perfectly. A budgie can be suffering from a serious illness and still eat. It'll still perch upright, still chirp on schedule, right up until the moment it collapses. Vets call this masking. And this matters. It means the calm, fine bird you're looking at right now could be running on borrowed time without a single visible symptom. The silence, it isn't peace, it's discipline. Now here's where it gets interesting. That profile isn't just behavioral, it's physical. Crows are exceptional at facial recognition. They're capable of identifying a single human face among thousands and remembering it for over 5 years, hat or no hat, sunglasses or none. But it goes way deeper than your face. They register your gait, the rhythm of your footsteps, even the pitch of your voice. A crow can recognize you from across a parking lot just by the way you walk towards your car. You are not anonymous to them. You never were. And this is where the gifts start making sense. Once a crow has built enough confidence in your reliability, enough repeated predictable kindness, it begins testing the relationship. The first offerings are small and almost careless, a pebble, a twist tie, practically nothing. But watch closely and you'll notice the timing. These objects tend to appear after a pause in feeding, not during a steady routine. It's almost like a question being asked. Are you still here? Do you still show up when it's inconvenient? I don't know if you've ever felt this, but picture a teenager testing whether a friendship survives a few weeks of silence. The crow is running the same experiment, just in feathers. But here's the part nobody tells you: pupil dilation matters too. Corvids are remarkably attuned to subtle shifts in human expression. The almost invisible widening of your eyes when you're startled, or the micro-tightening around your mouth when you're stressed. A crow that senses tension in you may delay its approach, hanging back on the fence instead of swooping in. A crow that senses calm will close the distance faster. You think you're simply having a bad day. The bird thinks it's reading a weather report. Now think about this for a second. What happens when that read is consistently positive? When, day after day, the crow registers you as calm, reliable, non-threatening. That's when the object on your porch stops being a test and becomes something closer to currency. Not payment for food. It's a marker, a way of saying, in the only language available to it, I've categorized you, and the category is safe. This is where the story stops being about one bird and becomes something stranger. Crow families don't disperse the way most birds do. Juveniles often stay close to their parents for years, learning the landscape, which trees are safe, which dogs are dangerous, and yes, which humans are worth trusting. That means the bird leaving objects on your porch today may be teaching its own offspring to do the same next year and the year after. Your reputation, quite literally, gets passed down through a bloodline you'll never meet. Here's the part that should sit with you a little. You didn't build a relationship with a single crow. You built one with a lineage, an evolving, multi-generational record of you, your patience, your consistency, your tone of voice on an ordinary Tuesday, inherited like a family story told around a nest instead of a dinner table. And a deeper layer underneath all of this isn't sentiment, it's strategy. From the crow's perspective, a reliable human isn't just a food source, it's protection. A predictable person near a nest scares off cats, discourages strangers, occasionally yells at the right moment. Recruiting your trust isn't affection in the way we imagine it. It's something closer to alliance building. You've been quietly evaluated, tested, and recruited as backup without ever signing up for the job. Think about what that actually means. Out in the wild, that bird would have dozens of companions to share the burden of vigilance, dozens of voices to answer its calls. But in your home, it has just one. You. Every single need for company, every instinct toward social bonding, it all gets compressed down onto one single relationship, yours. That's why a lone Budgie can get so anxious, withdrawn, sometimes even self-destructive. It's not being dramatic. It's just a flock animal trying to survive in a flock of one. And this is where the perspective shift happens. Because once you understand that, you realize trust was never about hand-taming at all. Real trust isn't forced. It's negotiated, quietly, in a language Budgies have been speaking long before you ever arrived. A relaxed wing flick, a soft, low chatter under the breath. Feathers held loose instead of clenched tight against the body. These are the Budgies' version of a held door or a return smile. They're tiny offers of goodwill, and they're so easy to miss if you're just waiting for something bigger. The owners who actually earn deep trust, they aren't the ones chasing the bird around the cage. They're the ones who learn to sit still long enough to be read. They pass the test without even realizing a test was happening. But it doesn't stop there, because trust can quietly erode again through the cage itself. A flat perch, a static layout, food appearing in the exact same bowl every single day. To us, that looks like comfort. But to a Budgie's instincts, it's the complete opposite. In the wild, Budgies forage constantly. They're flying, searching, problem-solving for every single meal. A static environment strips that away entirely. It leaves a sharp, restless mind with nothing left to solve. Over time, that unused intelligence doesn't just sit quietly, it turns into stress, into feather plucking, into a kind of slow psychological erosion most owners never trace back to something as simple as a perch that never moves. So now, flip everything you thought you knew at the start. That bird that glanced at you and looked away, it wasn't bored, it was reading you. It was studying your pace, your tone, your pattern, deciding in that half second whether you were safe today. Every quiet moment you assumed was nothing was actually something. It was a test, an audit, a small act of trust offered and either taken or missed. And this is the part that stays with you. The guilt of not knowing isn't the point here. None of us were taught to see it. What matters is what happens now. Understanding that this small creature isn't just a decoration in a cage, it's a hyper-aware, deeply feeling mind, constantly translating your world into a language of safety and threat, and quietly, patiently, giving you chances to get it right. So here's a question worth sitting with. When you think back to your own Budgie or any bird you've ever kept, what do you think it had already figured out about you, long before you figured out anything about it? Tell me in the comments. I'd genuinely like to know.